The new Black Wall Street. Do it right, build wealth, live life, economic empowerment, real tips, insight on the new Black Wall Street. It's on the new Black Wall Street. Here's your host.
All right, my beautiful people, man. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us here today on the new Black Wall Street, the Money and Power Show. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified financial educator, CEO of ERGJ Enterprises, ERGJ Black Bazaar, and international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club. The book that I wrote, guys, is a study of Black wealth. It's a study of the 12 richest Black people in the world today and how they built their wealth. And I just truly believe that if you want to be wealthy, that's a big if, by the way, but if you do, I recommend that you study wealthy people. That's a good place to start. Study wealthy people. Well, you get that book by simply going to the website, www.theblackbillionairesclub.com, www.theblackbillionairesclub.com. Pick up your copy today. It's available in ebook and also soft copy in English, also ebook and audiobook in French as well for our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, okay? So you can go to www.theblackbillionairesclub.com, www.theblackbillionairesclub.com to begin your study today. Today's episode is being brought to you by ERGJ Black Bazaar, the Afrocentric marketplace, which specializes in Afrocentric home decor, personal care products, and also Black art-inspired gifts. We've updated our website to be able to provide some of the things that we need now. We do have hemp, CBD and hemp products that we've added to the store as well. And then you also can find some of your personal protective equipment between your mask, your hand sanitizer, gloves, replacement filters, things like that, things that we need to protect our house as we're still dealing with the COVID-19 outbreak. So make sure that you are protecting yourself, guys, where you're out here in these streets. And you can do so by shopping at ERGJ Black Bazaar, the Afrocentric marketplace. Simply just want you guys to remember this, man, that once you shop Black, you never go back. Once you shop Black, you never go back. ERGJ Black Bazaar, find us at www.theblackbazaar.com. www.theblackbazaar.com. I want to shout out to our sponsor for today, Big Sis Media. That's right, Big Sis Media, helping us to pay the bills, man, is a full-service creative design agency with the tools available to help clients communicate with audiences through visual and digital media. They're there to watch over your most critical creative needs like a Big Sis would. And of course, as you guys may know already, everything that I do is powered by Big Sis Media. Everything that I do is powered by Big Sis Media, from my websites to my flyers. Big Sis Media is the one that takes care of all of that for us. And so we want to make sure that we shout out Big Sis Media as man, let me go ahead and just close down Facebook, because it just seems like people don't know that I'm online and they just want to keep on tagging me and pinging me and all this stuff as well. BigSisMedia.com. Take a look at some of the things that they do, guys. Graphic design, web design, video production, branding strategy, audio production, and photography. Get all the help that you need to bring your business, your idea, your thought into 2020, man. We're in a digital age. The question is, why aren't you? We're in a digital age. The question is, why aren't you? www.bigsismediagroup.com, www.bigsismediagroup.com. Go ahead and hit that like button and share button if you care. Like button and share button if you care. Let people know that we are here on the Money and Power Show, which is a free financial education for the nation. That's right, free financial education for the nation. I want to say thanks so much for joining us here today. Miss Silky Black is in the house. Thomas Freeman, thanks so much for joining us here today. Good morning to you on the Money and Power Show. Good morning to you, Miss Vivian Reed, Money and Power Show. And good morning to you, Mr. Setley. Henry, anybody else that's here, just let us know that you're here. Also, let us know where you're connected from, what city, what state, We're broadcasting across the World Wide Web, across Facebook and also YouTube, out of our virtual studio in Decatur, Georgia. That's right, Decatur, where it's greater. And it's just phenomenal to know that you're connected with so many people from all over the world, and you're giving great content, and people are receiving it. People are receiving it, absolutely. Now, we're going to start our show by actually getting into a book that's written by Dr. Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude Anderson. And he wrote this book, and I believe it to be a political book. And so the Money and Power Show is money, obviously economics, and then power, which is politics. And we don't really do a whole bunch of politics because I'm not a political guy. I'm still looking for that political piece to add to the show, but sometimes we can find it in great books. And so Dr. Carl Anderson, which is, I would say, one of the great minds of our time, he's still alive today. He wrote this book called A Black History Reader, 101 Questions That You Never Thought to Ask. And so today we're going to cover question number 2. Today we're going to cover question number 2, which is, here's the question. Are Black Americans an official socioeconomic underclass? Are Black Americans an official socioeconomic underclass? And so let's find out what he says as it relates to this question in his book, A Black History Reader. No Money and Power Show. Let's read. Whether Black Americans are the nation's official underclass depends on the criteria used to define the term. In the broadest sense, an underclass is that segment of the population that occupies the lowest possible position in a ranking order of social acceptability. The enactment of the nation's constitution in 1789 and the first naturalization law of 1790 established a rank order that placed whites at the top and entitled to all of society's benefits, and consigned blacks to the bottom rank with no entitlements, not even to life itself. The naturalization law declared America to be a white nation, with blacks acceptable only as slaves. In subsequent years of Jim Crow, semi-slavery, and political correctness, a deliberate and carefully interlinked set of laws and public policies assured Black presence as a subordinated labor and consumer class. Consequently, Black people became the designated official underclass, as it has yet to be repudiated or changed. Until that happens, Blacks are restricted to the conditions that place them outside and beneath mainstream society. Governmental agencies and scholars have broadened and modernized the definition of an underclass as any group in America that lives as if they were in a poverty-stricken country. This immigration-based, politically correct public policy is designed to shift the nation's focus from Blacks to Hispanics, Asians, and other immigrating ethnicities. However, this gesture changes nothing in the original underclass designation, because immigration groups have always ranked above Blacks in the order of social and political acceptability. Immigrant groups are credentialed by federal authorities and are granted access to benefits. As soon as the next generation loses its accent, even those with some color are accepted as white and move into the middle and upper classes. Blacks, as a caste, have never had the class mobility granted to immigrants. The U.S. Census chart below, real median household income by race and Hispanic origin of the householder 1967 to 2014, shows how Blacks stay fixed as an underclass income status. It depicts the racial hierarchy in our society and presents the reality that Blacks are fixed at the lowest income level. So here's what basically the graph says. Asians are at about median of 74,000. This was in 2014. Non-Hispanic whites, 60,000. Hispanic, any race, 42,000. And then Blacks, about 35,000 median household income. The census chart on page 4, which is what we just read, shows that at the peak of the 1967 Black Civil Rights Movement, white median household income was 52,200, double the 26.8 median household income of Blacks. The chart also depicts that changed immigrant policies that, in response to the 1965 civil rights laws, opened the doors for immigrants based upon ethnicity and family ancestry. The newly arriving immigrants were classified as minorities and made eligible for benefits, an opportunity that Blacks had been historically denied. The massive influx of Hispanic immigrants began in 1970, and the U.S. Census chart indicates that at the outset, their incomes began at $38,900, well above the income of Blacks. And by 2014, Hispanic income had reached $42,500, $7,000 higher than Blacks, even though 90% of all Hispanics in America in 2014 had been in the country less than 45 years. Similarly, in the late 1980s, Asians who had been combined in classification with Arabs began to enter the country. Their median household income was $64,000. About 2014, their median income was $74,300, double that of Black Americans. It is noteworthy that the U.S. Census chart indicates not only that all household income for all groups was up, while the income for Native Americans, for Native Black Americans, was headed downward. The downward trend for Blacks further indicates that as a group, they are the nation's official underclass. A report by the Urban Institute, The Color of Wealth in the Nation's Capital, the subject of an article in the Washington Post on November 2nd, 2016. The grim statistics in this article on Black wealth reinforce the census chart and are further evidence that Blacks as a group are the nation's official underclass. The Urban Institute report pointed out that in the District of Columbia region, the net worth of white households was 81 times that of Black households. Whites had a net worth of $284,000, and the net worth of Blacks was only $3,500. This disparity was even more stark because within the region, Prince George's County, Maryland, was the highest concentration of wealthy and educated Blacks in America. Yet Hispanic immigrants in the D.C. region had acquired 4 times the net worth of Blacks, even though as a group, 90% of for barely 40 years. The same bottom rung status applies to Blacks in business ownership, wealth accumulation, and in the hiring process. A group becomes a permanent underclass regardless of individual exceptions that exist. The group remains fixed at the lowest level, century after century, regardless of whether the mainstream economy is experiencing boom or bust times. An underclass, the Black race, and its members are routinely blamed for their own socio-economic dilemma. Conservatives argue that Black underclass status results from failure to take advantage of the limitless social, political, and economic opportunities that this nation offers to all groups. They further postulate that Blacks are handicapped by their attitudes and values, culture, work ethic, which differ from that of mainstream white society. Blacks did not become a permanent underclass on their own. It is critically important that Black Americans understand the disadvantages of an underclass status by the very nature of its socio-economic conditions. An underclass is predestined to live at the lowest level of the system as beggars and criminals. Neither civil rights nor social integration can effectively help them to escape from their underclass status. America's ranking order of social acceptability is tightly woven into the nation's psyche. Some group has to be at the bottom. It is not possible for every group to be equal in socio-economic status. The question is, can Blacks muster the mental focus, the resources, and determination to break out and escape after so many years of being frozen at the bottom? If someone steals your car, you want your car back or something of equal value to replace it. Blacks must find a way to recapture what was lost or stolen from them and to use it to escape their constitutionally designated underclass status. Woo, that's heavy. Okay, that is heavy. And that's from Dr. Claude Anderson. So you guys can see, it's his writing. That's how he talks. And as he mentioned, are Blacks Americans an official socio-economic underclass? And I believe that the key word there is economic, which is one thing, why this show is what it is to continue to get us to focus on economics, which seems to be so very difficult for us to do. All right. Right. It seems so hard for us to do. Let's catch up on these comments, see what's going on. Good morning to you. Massachusetts, Louisville, Kentucky is in the house. Good morning to you. Metro Atlanta, Grand Rising to you. Loki, Slick, Saucy. Good morning to you. Andre Wise in the house. Brother Andre, thanks so much. Black wealth hurts me to my heart, man. Good morning to you. Queen Vivian in the house. Underclass is predestined to live at the lower class of this system, which is a capitalistic system, right? It's a system built on acquiring capital and then using capital to acquire more capital, right? And until our minds shift from socialism, which I believe many Blacks in their heart, we're socialists. We're a village mentality. Until our minds switch to, okay, well, we can do socialism after we do capitalism. After we get the capital and then we spread it among all our people, then we can start talking about socialism. But we got to get the capital first. Okay. We got to get the money first. And then we can start talking about saving the world and whatever else in your heart of hearts that you want to do. Let's get to the money first. Okay. So today, we're talking about a better life, man. This is part 3 of Better Life. Our guest is here, and he'll be popping up in just a second. We'll probably want to go get something to drink. What we'll do, man, we'll take a look at the market real quick and catch up on what's going on in Wall Street. I figure that's a good thing for us to do. So let's see here if we see anything here that may be of good service here, okay? So we'll take a look at some news that you can use, guys. Some news that you can use as it relates to the market. See if we find anything of interest here. I'm on CNN Money, and oil prices again are plunging. So oil is on sale. Oil is on sale. Okay. Now, again, you see this first article, Black barbershop owners are divided over corona social distancing. It's interesting because this agenda that's putting forth in the media to really talk about blacks and coronavirus is very interesting. I mean, here's why it's interesting to me. You act like there ain't no white barbers, right? What about all barbers? But no, they're specifically talking about black barbers because they're specifically trying to get black people to either be afraid or to acknowledge that this corona, because we seem to be the most skeptical people. We're like, man, for real? Like, and if you go out into black neighborhoods, you'll see, like, we really are taking this stuff lightly. I mean, we really don't give a fuck. Okay. So it's very interesting that the media now has shifted into speaking about and to black people as it relates to this coronavirus, to COVID-19. I just find it very interesting how the shift happened. All of a sudden, it was like, okay, let's go make sure that the black folk are scared. Right? That would have seemed like, let's go do all we can to make sure that black folk are scared. And y'all, you know what I'm saying? But how many of y'all are from the hood? And when you go out on Saturday, it just look like a regular day. You be like, damn, like, we ain't wearing no masks. We out here washing our car. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we might do a little social distancing inside of the grocery store, but for the most part, it's like ain't shit really changed other than we can't get everything we want to get. I just find it very interesting and fascinating, and I also find that those who own and control the news are putting out their own narrative. All right, so fair rates low will punish people. Anything here? Coronavirus? Anything here? HSBC? Nothing there. Meat shortage. Okay, so there's a meat shortage. So Beyond Meat, which is meatless meat, seems to have a big bounce in their stock price. Latest autopilot feature. Nothing there. Nothing there. Anything, nothing there. Okay, nothing real juicy there. Here's what happened yesterday in the market, guys. The market was actually up again, 1.5% across the board for the Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P 500. GM, this is very interesting. GM suspended its dividend and its share repurchases. That's not good for their shareholders. A lot of retail companies were up yesterday. Kohl's up 17%, Nordstrom's up 13%, Gap's up 12%, L Brands up 12%. I find that very interesting and odd, but they're about to reopen up these stores in these cities, and people will be able to go to these stores and buy stuff. Oil's down $11.21 per barrel, $1.92 across the country as far as the regular unleaded gasoline is concerned. How stocks have been doing thus far in 2020, negative 15% for your Dow, negative 10% or 11% for SP 500, only negative 2.7% for the NASDAQ. And the NASDAQ is pretty interesting because that's where all of your technology stocks are. That's where everything that's digital is, all your Zooms and all your Facebooks and all that stuff. So I can see why technology, because we've been actually you've been forced really to use technology if you want to remain relevant. The days of, we gotta get into this space in order to see each other face to face. Those days are really much dwindling by. And if you can do it online, if you can connect with people online, if you can have trainings online, you can go to school online and make it simpler and easier, get people off the road, reduce pollution. Why wouldn't you do that? Right? Why wouldn't you do that? And I just see a shift in the way in which every industry and how they're going to do business moving forward. That's what I see. All right, that is what I see. Let's see what you guys talking about. I'm a great warning to you, man, but I don't live in the hood. I'm from the hood, but I don't live in the hood. Okay, fantastic. But you probably see some things that are going on in the hoods in which you live. Okay. Here's the emotion that's driving the market up to 43. I like this little chart because we'll see that the fear as it relates to Wall Street is kind of over. Right, we had the scare back in about a month ago, 320, right? I predicted about 420 when I said about 420 this thing would be over, and I said how ironic would it be? Of course, it went to April, went to Easter, and then now I think we'll be pretty much done with a lot of the fear come next week or come May 1st, which I believe is next week. in a couple of days, right? It's in a couple of days. It should be what, Friday? Friday is May 1st. So we'll see what happens. But a lot of fear is leaving the market, so that tells us that money is coming back into the market. And as I was stating earlier, we want to be in a position where we're in the front of that money. So that money that comes in, all those big dollars that comes in, they can push our value that we have up. Okay. That's what we want to do. All right, Lodge, I'm about to bring you in, man. Better life is what we're talking about here tonight or here today on the Money and Power Show. Good morning, everybody. Okay. I'm not quite sure what he may have called. What's going on with you, man?
Brother, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well, man. You are killing me talking about fear this morning.
That might be the topic, man. Talking about fear, because it's a hell of a drug. It is a hell of a drug, man. Before we get into that, brother, let's make sure we do a proper introduction, man. Dr. Lodge Weathersby back with us here today. Everybody put it down so a better life. He represents a Better Life Institute. And again, there's some people who might be here today that have didn't catch it last week and didn't catch it the week before. So if you could, do a brief introduction, tell people who you are, what you do, why you do what you do, and why the heck we should listen to you.
Man, well, first of all, good morning, everybody. I'm excited always to share. Ladre Weathersby is my name. I'm the Better Life Coach. I believe with every part of my being that the better life can only be attained once you master money. So that's why I'm always in the conversation. I may not say everything. I may not say something, but I'm always listening. I'm always hearing. I understand that the world we live in is capitalist. And if you're going to live in a capitalist society, you got to play with capital. Evan said something earlier that just literally almost took my knees out. He said, we got to get capitalism right before we can do socialism. Man. So I've been having a great time already this morning. I hope y'all are too. But the name of the game, again, for me is better life, but you can't get the life better until the money's better. And that's why I'm tripping with what Evan talking about fear this morning, because the fear is where it's part of the money trail. Either we're going to make money in fear or we're going to lose money in fear. And unfortunately, a lot of times that fear is used to take our stuff, because when you're fearful, you don't even really know what to do and you don't think straight. So I'm ready for the conversation, brother. It's funny that I've got this T-shirt on today. Together we can stop the spread. Because some stuff we gotta stop.
Absolutely, man. And this is and because we can't talk about fear without actually talking about faith either. Because that's the spectrum, fear and faith. And I like what you just said. Fear, you can make money in fear, and this is the game, right? The game is the gig or the gag or whatever. The gag is to get people in fear, because when you're in fear, you're out of control. When you're out of control, that means that you need someone to control you. And right. Speaking, what we have out of control sheep who need a shepherd. And we have actually hired our own shepherd, and we pay the shepherd, right? And then we look to the shepherd. Who's the shepherd? The government. Who's the shepherd? The president. Who's the shepherd? These leaders, right, that we actually pay with our tax dollars, that then use these tools called the media, propaganda, all this stuff to drive fear into the land. Because think about it. How often do you watch something on the news that's actually increasing your faith?
It's like one channel for that, maybe two.
Right? How many channels are actually increasing your faith, your belief, your trust? So the game is fear and faith. And as you have faith, you typically have self-control, because that's a fruit of the spirit. And because you are in control, you now have the ability to be in control of every area of your life, which one of those would be money.
Yes.
But when you're in fear, you're out of control.
Man.
So talk us a little bit about this dynamic, fear and faith, as it relates to money and a better life.
Well, I get in trouble with the conversation because I tell people on a regular basis, listen, I'm not going to live in fear. The Christian scripture is very clear. It says God, the divine, the universe, depending on who you're talking to, has not given to us naturally the spirit of fear. If you look at a baby, it's only about 3 things that really get them going. And it's the same for all humans. Everything else is learned. It's the fear of the fear of falling, the fear of loud noises, and I want to say the fear of death. I forget the third one. You get the idea. It's only 3 natural God-given fears. And that's when your instinct takes over. No problem. I like that all day long. But you can tell when the spirit of fear is introduced because it covers every part of your life. Evan said it best. If you want an advantage, go back to a lot of the Rocky movies, those kinds of movies. And you can always tell the turning point, if you look at it through another lens, was usually when the thinking changed of the other person. Because if you control the thinking, you really control the person. And the same goes for faith, because they're the same thing. Both of them require that you believe what you can't see. One is positive, one is negative. Both fear and faith require you believe what you can't see. And if you can't see what's positive, you're going to see what's negative. And that's why faith and fear don't live predominantly together. Because truth be told, you can believe positively and acknowledge you still have a little bit of unbelief. You still have a little bit of skepticism. You still have a little bit of unsurety. That's fine. That's not the same as fear. So they work together.
And I love this. Man, I'm glad we're going to have the conversation because to believe it, because we have to believe in something, that seemed to be a very difficult topic, to believe what you can't see, but we do it all the time.
All the time.
It's just that it normally doesn't affect us positively, the things that we believe that we can't see. But in our own psyche, we tend to make it difficult to believe what we can't see when it's actually going to be something that actually can help us. I.e., for example, I'll say, we have no problem, right? Taking our $20, right, and then putting that into this thing called the lottery, and then hoping we can't see what's going to happen, but hoping that we hit some numbers. No problem doing that. But if I say, hey, you can take that same $20, you can join this group called the Black Billionaires Club, and then we can teach you how to make $200 a day. It's like, whoa, I can't see that, but I don't believe that. So I'd rather take the $20 and chance it on something that historically speaking, has the worst odds. It got the worst odds to win. Versus invested in myself and say, you know what? I'm going to bet on myself, my ability and my effort and my energy, and maybe some people around me that can teach me something, and it puts myself in a much better situation and have a much better life.
Brother. And that's the reason why the mind game is where most people lose. We might get assassinated today, brother. That mind game is where most people lose. I tell people, listen, I am not going to live in fear with this coronavirus. Does faith make you an idiot? No, I'm very intelligent. I understand it's a virus. I understand. But because I know that I can't live in the fear of the unknown, because I know, which is what grinds in my gears and burns my bridges, because faith functions in part, it's fed by what you know. Come on, how many times have we said, oh, I can't try that. And somehow or another, somebody either bamboozled us, somebody tricked us. Or if you're like me, you're old school. My parents forced me to eat vegetables. And so many people kill me. I don't like vegetables. How you don't like what you've never had? Because somebody has given them their perspective. They've given them their fear, which is why you got to be careful who you listen to, because faith or fear comes based upon what you hear. But not just upon what you hear, it's upon what you see, what you touch, what you taste. It comes through your senses. And so we've got to be careful to feed ourselves what helps us believe what's good for us, and not feed ourselves what will have us believe what's bad for us. Again, I'm not saying be crazy. I'm not saying be Lulu in the head and just everything. No, that's not what I'm saying. But the balance is you've got to know.
Man, this is absolute. Now everybody putting console feed myself, because here's the deal. Because we got to first we have to acknowledge that we actually are feeding ourselves. Like I get it, right? Oh, we've been conditioned. Oh, we've been programmed. Oh, and I get it. It's the easiest thing is to say that somebody this boogeyman who you can't identify, right? Whoever they is actually now. We're not saying that it hasn't been done, but I'm talking about you've been on this earth for 40 years. It ain't really been done to you. It might have been done to your greats, but it ain't been done to you. It's voluntary programming. Right, because here's the deal: is it not true, brother Ladre, that I could turn the channel, or I could turn it off? Is it not true that out of all of these, whatever 400 channels on that I get with this cable thing, that I could choose which channel I watch? Is it not true that they have an FM and they have an AM?
Woo!
You know what I'm saying? That I could choose to listen to the same music with the same beat with no words and then do my own thing with it. That's called instrumentals. I could choose that if I wanted to. So I could choose to listen. I could choose not to listen. I could choose to watch. I could choose not to watch. I can choose to engage. I can choose not to engage. I can choose to be a friend. I can choose not to be a friend. So it comes down to the power of choice. Everybody put in console choice.
And everybody has the ability to choose. And then watch this. Again, the Christian scriptures are clear. Every person has a measure of faith, or a measure of, they have the ability to believe what they can't see. But it's a choice. It amazes me. I tell people this on a regular basis. It amazes me how everybody who has a kid knows that if you have a kid around you too long and you use this antiquated, now rediscovered device called the stove, that every kid eventually wants to touch the stove. And because we can't teach the kid that the stove is bad, no matter what you say to the kid is like, ooh, ah. And if you're like me, I grew up on a gas stove. Man, let that blue flame start turning orange and yellow with a little flicker of green here and there. I'm like, ah. And like every little kid, when nobody's looking, ah, ah, and kids holler. And if you're a parent, you know for a fact that holler from when your kid touched the stove is a totally different holler than you ever heard before. But here's what drives me nuts. That kid will damn near never touch the stove again. That kid might be scarred until they're 15 or 16 about the stove. Okay, they're not scarred that long, but y'all get the point. But what drives me nuts is that same kid will never put their hand on the proverbial stove again. But you got grown ass can be folk. You got adulted ass can be folk. You got folk over 21 who drive me nuts because their hand is on the proverbial stove, but they bitch, moan, gripe, complain, and everything else you can think of, and they won't move their hand. Evan said it best. You can change the channel. You can change the station. You can change what you feed yourself, because it's not what goes in, but it's only what comes out that's going to mess it up. And so the name of the game is the choice. I just want us to get our hands off the stove. And then people tell me, well, I couldn't. Well, you mean to tell me your whole hand was on the stove and you couldn't free your thumb? You couldn't unprogram just a little bit? You couldn't learn something else just a little bit? Like, stop it. And you got people, last thing I'll say on this, you got people who've had their hand on the proverbial stove for so dadgummit long that their hand is now just bone. But they still say, I can't. Yes, you can. It's your choice. Talking about fear versus faith. Same thing, just in a different direction.
And this is this phenomenal conversation, man, because this fear versus faith, this belief that we have, because we got belief. We either believing and it's like a little scale. It's going towards faith, or we believe it's going towards fear. Either way, you're believing. And it's just like this thing I showed on greed, and we call it in money, we call it fear and greed. Yeah. Right? When people are greedy, you be fearful. When people are fearful, you be greedy. And so it's the same concept of something that's on a scale that's all the way tweeter one way or the other. Now, when it comes to money, right? Mm-hmm. Especially when it comes to investing, you gotta you have to have faith that first you got to believe that you can even get a return. Because if you don't believe that a return is even possible, you'll never invest. Why would you? Right? You'll never say, you know what, this little $25 or $200 or whatever it is that you got, you know what, I'm going to try. Everybody put in console, try. You will never try if you don't believe.
Right.
I mean, why would you? Like, you would never try. So say, hey, I believe enough to try, right? And then you get past that because there's different levels of faith, right? So I got faith to try, but then I have faith to believe that there's a return available unto me.
Man. So one of the things I've learned, I even created a course called Next Level Now because this stuff has to be taught. We get in trouble because we learn a lot, but we've really never been taught. Let me explain the difference. There was a lady who was cooking, and she cooked her food just like her mother. It's not that the food was bad, but one day she called her mother. She said, you know, I've always cooked this ham, and every time I cook this ham, I've done what you've done. I cut off the top portion and put it in the thing. And she said, but I only did that because that was as big as my pan was, and I couldn't cook the other half of the ham. So this woman has been gone for years, throwing half the ham away because she saw her mother cut half of it off, but there was never an explanation. And this is what gets us in trouble. We can learn on our own because of what we see, what we experience, and we come to a conclusion. But we've never had somebody tried and true teach us, which means you intentionally sit down, you intentionally told something, you intentionally explained it, all this great stuff. And that feeds the fear because we've never been taught. That's the reason why faith and fear are really the same side, the different sides of the same coin, because you can believe what you don't see, but faith is fed by what we know. My knowledge base or my philosophy about a subject is simply based upon what I know. What I know produces how I feel about the subject. Because you got people running around. If you talk about cancer, oh man, nothing ever can fix that. But other folks say, no, I read about so-and-so being healed. I read about so-and-so going through chemotherapy and beating it. I read about so-and-so having surgery. And because you're starting to get this knowledge, this awareness, now you can believe based upon what you know. But if you don't know anything, the only belief you can have is fear.
Man, this is something else, man. Our people perish for lack of knowledge. But here's the deal. If we learn to actually operate as a village again, then every area of knowledge that is lacking every hole can be plugged. Mm-hmm. You and I, we won't learn everything.
Okay.
But we can specialize in something. In the comments below, I'd like for you to share something that you know that you know that you know. It may be the industry that you are in, that you represent. Yeah, we're going to do that because we're talking about business and money. Something that you know that you know that you know. In other words, if I were to come to you and try to talk to you in this particular area, I'm going to be the fool because you know that you know that you know. And I can try to talk you out of it and be like, no, you're not right and all this stuff. But you know that you know that you know that you know. Mm-hmm. It's investing in the stock market. I know that I know that I know. And so whenever somebody comes to me and tries to talk to me about stuff that I know that they don't know, I'll actually let them be right because I'm not going to have a long conversation with a fool. But I know that I know that I know.
Man.
What's that for you? What's that area for you that you know that you know that you know? Now, here's the thing. Here's why I want you to identify this. Because the area in which you know that you know that you know, this knowledge that you've acquired through your experience, through your study, right, through teaching for someone else, that knowledge can be converted into capital.
But let me jump in for a quick second. You quoted one of my favorite scriptures recorded in the book, Hosea 4:6. But I need to take a preacher's moment, a teacher's moment, and a pastor's moment. Nobody ever finishes the scripture. So let me pull it up real quick. And if you don't believe and follow the Bible, it's okay. But you just listen to this because many people quote it, but nobody ever quotes the whole scripture. Hosea 4:6. This is what it says. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Pause. Everybody stops there. But let me just give you the other side of this clause. I'm not gonna give you the whole thing. Because you have rejected knowledge. Let me talk. Most of the time, we're fearful of what we don't know because we chose not to know it. Let me lay my own stuff out. Black folks specifically kill me when they want to pull up this, we're destroyed for lack of knowledge because the man is holding it against us. No, boo. The man is not holding it against you. They don't hold you captive. The system doesn't really know your name because you don't know nothing. And you chose not to know anything. And as a public educator, one of the biggest tragedies, all of those other good words I can think of, is that many times we choose not to know. Okay, that's all I want to jump in real quick. I'm sorry.
No, I don't want to go back to that. I want to go back to that because you reject knowledge. So that's simply saying that it's available. It's also saying, well, I think we also know at this point in time in our life in 2020 that we have access to it. I mean, we got YouTube, we got Google, we got all this stuff. It's in the palm of our hand. We got a smartphone, another smart with it, right? So it's available. We have access to it. Matter of fact, you can have people like a Dr. Laundrie or Miss Mankins Golden or a Tisha Bitterman or a Vivian Reed or Evan Jefferson saying, screaming at the top of our lungs, I got knowledge, and some of it is free.
Some of it.
Right? But you reject knowledge.
You don't want it.
And the truth is, guys, let's be honest. In our community, we prefer entertainment over education. If it doesn't make us smile, dance, laugh,
giggle,
then we don't really want it.
And watch this. And when people want to pull the programming, the modeling, the conditioning out, I will give them that. You're right. You are exactly right. Traditionally, our community, blah, blah, blah. Traditionally, people, this, and this. But go back to the example of the kid with their hand on the proverbial stove. Who made you keep your hand there? If you've ever been to the circus, it is amazing how the elephant will stay even though the rope holding the elephant weighs less than probably the toe of the elephant, because the elephant has been conditioned from a little bitty calf when that rope could hold them, that they couldn't go beyond the rope. But now the rope can be broken by them, but they've been conditioned to stay there as an elephant. But you ain't an elephant. You are not an animal. You have a choice. You have a conscious ability to choose to learn, to choose to embrace, not reject knowledge. And our life suffers for it, but there's no excuse.
So Brother Elijah, let me ask you this. If we reject knowledge, how can we ever get the wisdom?
You can't. And the rest of that scripture lays out the pattern for poverty.
Oh, let me hear this. I mean, we might pattern. You're talking about the pattern. Oh, wait a second. Let me put this right on uphill.
Are you ready?
Wait a second. The pattern to poverty. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Okay, wait a second here. Oh, Lord. Oh, the pattern.
You see why I get in trouble, brother?
Okay, the pattern of poverty. Oh, Lord. Okay, I got it right here. Let's go ahead.
Ready?
I mean, you want to be starting something? You got to be starting something.
So let me go back. The pattern to poverty. People are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. That's the result. That's the result. The cause is you have rejected knowledge. The reaction is I will reject you. Deuteronomy 8:18 says, I have given you, I have placed in you, I have made accessible for you the power to gain wealth. But how can I gain wealth in its fullness if I'm cut off from the source? Where else do these good ideas come from? The source. Where else does the timing come together and now you see it comes from the source? So how can you prosper? How can you be in good health? How can you achieve destiny and all that good stuff if you are detached from the source? Because he says you are going to be destroyed because you rejected knowledge, and because you rejected knowledge, I'm going to reject you. But then he says, because you have forgotten the law of God, don't worry about that part, I will also forget your children. So because you rejected knowledge, God says, they don't give me much to work with. Let me back up. And your children are born in the same place you are. And so now you have a cycle, because your children are going to do exactly what you taught them, whether you told them or not.
Now, the pattern, the cycle. Everybody putting comments on the cycle. So if I reject knowledge and I got kids, then what the hell am I teaching my kids if I ain't got knowledge?
To reject knowledge.
I mean, if I ain't got knowledge, I rejected knowledge and I ain't got knowledge, then what the hell am I teaching my kids?
Ignorance. Mediocrity at best. And people, again, it goes back to the very first conversation we had. This is what happens when you read to know versus when you read to learn. Because when most people read this scripture, they're reading it in the context of a religious setting.
Well, I want you to touch on something else, because we're supposed to touch on something else. Because we talked about that. What about this though? Listening to reply versus listening to, because we talking about teachers, and teachers get up in the class, or they whatever they do of Zoom or something like that, listening to reply versus listening to understand, which also surmises that you have to first identify that this is a teacher that's trying to teach you, to even say, I want to shut up and understand what the teacher's teaching. But anyway, talk us about listening to reply versus listening to understand, because too many of us in dialogue, conversation, teaching moments, we are listening to reply. No digest going on at all.
None. Some of that is because we don't have a teachable spirit in the first place. The core of us is not teachable. The core of us thinks we know everything, or the core in us says, ain't nothing to learn right here. And I believe the bigger challenge is, like you said, us admitting where we are, because it's hard to pour into what's closed. And if we won't, as grown folks, not the kids, if we won't, as grown folks, admit where we really are, if we as grown folks won't admit our real condition, then we give that to our children. And we can't get any better. And so because we think we're pretty good, or because we're the big fish in the smallest possible pond, we don't feel the need to listen, because we don't think we can know anything, because at our core, we aren't teachable. We don't want to know. So we reply. And we reply out of ignorance, which then becomes a sharing of ignorance, because I get tired of trying to correct folks. I get tired of trying to put a drop of the little bit that I have, because I know I don't know everything. And in network marketing, they taught me that the bigger success talks. The teacher talks, the proven person talks, and those who aren't proven, those who are learning, be quiet and just learn. But that's an ego thing. And a lot of folks, they're the big fish in their little bitty pond. And it was like, ooh, matter of fact, when I got to Atlanta, I was the big fish in Chicago in my little circle, only to realize I was a guppy. Because the world was way bigger than a little bitty pond I came out of. So I had to do some unlearning and had to become more teachable. But some people just ain't teachable. They think they got it all. So that whenever something is said, they want to interject their opinion, because that feeds their ego. But eventually somebody will break it, and then they'll be ready to learn.
Man, and that breaking of the ego, that's like cracking an egg, boy.
And it's continual.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, brother. even in what you're the best you in, there is somebody better than you.
Yeah.
And in the 3.5 things I know pretty good, it's at least 5 people that I know that know each of those things better. And so we create a culture of learning when we learn and then give what we learn to our folks.
You know what? And I also, even when we were talking about this learning thing, you got to watch who you listen to. You got to watch your teachers, right? Like teachers can prove their results. It's proof of work. Everybody putting down some proof of work. It's proof of work, right? Either they have the testimonies, they can show you the results. Other people, because if you're a teacher, that means that you're creating students to become leaders and teachers as well. So your students should be prospering and flourishing as well. Not the teacher who he's the only one making money, and then everybody else is trying to learn, but ain't nobody else making money. That ain't a good teacher. He's just basically feeding off the flock, right?
Right.
So you got that's like discernment to be able to identify the good teachers in the land. Because they
not the good talkers. Wait, not the good talkers, the good teachers. Show me some credentials and show me some results. I'm so tired of us listening to people who are unqualified. I did an email for my coaching prospects. Let me teach you how to pick a coach. Because sometimes people pick the one that make the most noise. But you know, the pot that makes the most noise is the empty one. Oops.
Hey, if I have listen, let me just go ahead and say this. If I get another life coach that gets certified and their life is jacked up,
bruh,
you fix your life first.
Bruh.
If we gotta get another money coach who broke, can you fix your money first? I mean,
and that's the crazy part.
That's a great place to start. That's a great place to start. Let me fix my own issue.
Yeah. And wait, watch this. And let me coach you out of what I've already fixed.
Yeah, I can do that. That's cool. I can deal with that.
Look, I'll be totally transparent to your audience and to mine who watching and go watch this replay. I teach the concepts because I learned the concepts, but I experienced the concepts. So people kill me who want to teach an 800 credit score, who want to teach all of this stuff. But how the hell can you teach an 800 credit score for real if you've never been under 800? Stop it. I teach the 800 credit score because I've been down to a 4 the long way. And contrary to what some people pretend, none of these changes are instant. So even if you want to learn an 800 credit score, I don't have to have an 800 credit score to teach you the 800 credit score because I know how to fix it because I done screwed it up more than once. And you got these folks running around just talking. You're right. They got a certification. Get on my damn nerves. They got a little certification, but they don't know nothing. And I'm not talking about knowing mentally. They've not done what they know consistently.
See, we don't ever have enough time, man. It's just like
How
does time run out? How does time run out so fast? The time fly when you're having fun. Let me catch up on these comments, man. See what the people saying here, man. So we did have some healthcare and cooking. Only 2 people. Notice when I said, "Hey, let us know. Identify your area that you know. We only got 2 people to respond. That's a problem, people. Because if I were to ask you what area you were struggling with, you'd be quick. Oh, I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with that. Right? I say, man, here's what you see. Listen, that's not like an arrogance or a conceit or anything like that. You're just simply saying, here's what I'm good at.
Right.
Here's what I mean. I there's some things I'm not good at. There's a whole bunch that I'm not good at. But here's what I'm good at.
Not 9. Here are the 1 or 2 things I'm good at. I'm strong in. Let's bust this up real quick. You cannot be strong in 9,749 different things. Please stop the foolishness. You can't be the best in 9,000 things. I tell my kids, you have to major and you have to minor. Now, you might get something real strong. Like I just put down, I'm real. Y'all know I hate the South with these damn bugs. I'm real strong when it comes to the devil is a whole lot. Sorry, Man, is you laughing at me? Brother, I hate you sometimes.
Go ahead, Dr. Elijah. Go ahead, man.
Wait, hold on. Let me tell everybody. So I'm sitting there talking, and out of the corner of my teaching eye, I see something fall. That's why I jumped. Like I didn't know. I just knew something fell. And then there was some little palmetto bug, but it's brown on my white wall, bro. That messed me up. But I tell my kids, you got to have a major and a minor. Yeah, you might do two things real good. I just put down I'm financial development and I'm personal development. Now, my third thing, I can do some business development up front, but that's it. You're not going to see me being a supercomputer nerd. I'm not the cooking guru this week. I'm not the romance relationship. Come on, pick one or two. Jeez. Okay, I'm sorry.
But that's good because we learn major and minor in a couple different areas. We learn major and minor in music.
Yep.
We learn major and minor in education, major in this, minor in that. And it's okay. Here's the thing. Don't major in minor things and don't minor in major things. Right? So my minor might be, it ain't really love and relationships, but I got a little love relationship. So it's very minor. I do it one day a week. It's fun. Right? Yep. I'm not doing that all week. That is not my major. My major is, saying, getting this money, getting out of debt, building wealth, and getting rich. That's
getting my money, bro.
Right? I'm not majoring in that minor over there.
No. And then watch this. And just because you have a major and a minor doesn't mean you aren't knowledgeable about some other things. Because if you have a teachable spirit, if your core is teachable, you're going to learn a lot of stuff. I'm a Morehouse man. They say, you can't tell a Morehouse man much. You're right, because we learn about a lot of different things. Not an expert at everything. Hear the difference. I'm not saying being an expert at everything, but it's good to learn about a lot of things, because you could be in certain conversations with your ideal client and not know that's your ideal client because you have to talk about a certain topic knowledgeably. Doesn't mean you know everything, but you got to know something. Okay.
Man, Sandra said construction, man. Hey, Loki said, man, sometimes an hour ain't enough. I know. Hey, Shay said she's now she good at utilities. That's her thing. She understand that. She got her hands ready, pointing out. All right, Majid. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining. Got the hands up. All right. Hey, Elijah, man, we got 3 minutes to go. It's going to be time for us to get up, get out, and get something, man. What's your last word for the peeps here today on the Money and Power? You coming back next week?
Of course. Bro, you in my calendar. And I sure thought it was 7 o'clock. Is when I was like, what? I said, wait a minute, read that again. Yeah. Parting words. So growing up, Thundercats was the stuff. And as a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, to this day, I still remember, I have the power. That's what I want to leave with you. You've got the power. What power? To choose. You can choose to be faith-based, positive. You can choose to be faith-based, negative. You can choose to embrace knowledge. It doesn't mean you use everything you hear, everything you learn. Or you can choose to reject knowledge, because if you reject it, you can't use what you don't got. You have the power. Make sure that you remember that. And together we'll prove, based upon our choices, that when life is pretty good, a better life is always best.
Absolutely, man. Everybody put in console. I got the power. That's right, man. You got the power. And let me say, man, you got the power. You got the power. Now, here's some different powers that you have, right? You have the power to choose, right? You have the power of your tongue, which can reinforce what you choose, right? You have the power to create or create wealth, right? You have that power, right? These are given to you. This is not power that you have to go work for. You already got it. You already got it. So it's not a matter. Because you actually use it. It's not like you don't use it. It's a matter of how you use it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of how you use it.
Yeah.
You got the power. And you use it every day. But how do you use it?
Yes, sir.
Man, Dr. Elijah, I want to say thanks so much for joining us here today on the Money and Power Show. A better life is absolutely available unto us. as we continue to choose, right? We continue to choose a better life.
Yes, sir.
Choose a better life. Man, I want you guys to remember this as we close out our show here today, that it takes a village. It starts with us. It starts with our power that we are either using or abusing. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, beautiful people. Matter of fact, we all we need. And thank God that's more than enough. I want to read this our little Monopoly thing for us before we get out of here, guys. Life is like Monopoly with one little difference, right? When playing the game, everyone knows that you have to invest in order to become wealthy and win the game. In real life, most people are trying to win just by going around the board and only passing go. That's what you do when you only live paycheck to paycheck and don't invest.
Wow.
That would be the power to choose to invest, to try or not invest. Use what you learned as a kid. It's time to get up, get out, and go get something. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
The new Black Wall Street. Thanks you for joining the show. We gave a lot of great tips, but it's time to go. Take the knowledge we shared, hope you use it and grow. We'll see you all there at the next episode of The New Black Wall Street. The New Black Wall Street.